lot to analyze now. Good morning to you. Nice to have you on. This is a preview now of Harris's town hall, which follows our program momentarily here. So let's go ahead and roll this on migrant crime, especially in places like Georgia.
Georgia Bulldog. He was on campus the day Laken Riley was murdered. You know, terrifying for all those kids, right? I wanted to know, like, how quickly in a sanctuary city, like they're calling Athens, Georgia, how quickly can you remove those threats to our society so that our children can go out on a run, as they rightfully should be able to do, in a park in the daytime by themselves?
We can do things in terms of moving people out. We can move them out of the sanctuary cities. We're going to end all sanctuary cities in the United States, and we're going to go back to normalcy, and we're going to have law and order.
That law and order really goes back to 2016, 8 years ago. Sanctuary cities is one thing. And also going after migrant criminals, meaning you have a criminal record in a previous country and you are here now. That is his focus. I think on the left, that point gets lost. I think that point's very important.
Absolutely. And you heard that mother say something I've thought as a mother, something I think any woman in the country has thought, that Jocelyn Ngari, a little girl, should be able to walk to a convenience store without losing her life to someone who should not be here. Rachel Morin, a mother of 5, should be able to go for a run. Laken Riley should be able to go for a run. These are stories that really haunt the American psyche of any woman in the country. So he's spot on to answer that. We'll see his more extended answer there. And to tie that to Biden policies, I mean, Biden came in and ripped up 94 executive actions that undid immigration policy. He had 212F authority in the Immigration and Nationality Act, chose to wait until year 3 to invoke it because he denied he had this power, then he invokes it. This mess was one of the Biden-Harris creating. So hitting that personal side, then pivoting to policy contrast is the way to go.
One of the things that Charlamagne the God talked to Harris about was also the border crisis. So let's take a listen to that as well.
Doesn't the Biden administration have to take some blame for the border, though? A lot of the blame? Because, I mean, the first 3 years, y'all did get a lot of things wrong with the border.
First thing we dropped was a bill to fix the broken immigration system, which, by the way, Trump did not fix when he was president. We then tightened up the asylum application process. We then worked with what we needed to do to secure ports of entry. We did a number of things, including what we did to try and get that border security bill passed.
Problem with that, I think, is it just belies belief, right? So I was reading a piece this weekend in The Atlantic. You had to get to paragraph 18 before you found out that the reason 56% of Americans are for mass deportations is because of what happened the first 3.5 years. Like, what would happen if she said, we could have done better?
Right.
And then moved on. But she keeps getting the same question because she doesn't answer it.
She doesn't. And we heard something a little new there. She said, we dropped a piece of legislation upon first taking office. Well, that piece of legislation was a path to citizenship for illegal immigrants. This so-called bipartisan border bill, which, by the way, several Democrats voted against, did not come until after the death of Laken Riley, until after the mess that they created. What she fails to mention there is there were 2 years of unilateral government. They controlled the presidency, the House, and the Senate. If this were a priority, you should have shepherded this panacea bill, the bipartisan bill, through. And by the way, H.R. 2 was passed by Kevin McCarthy in the House, strongest immigration bill in 100 years. You could pick it up today. Call Chuck Schumer. Get it to Biden's desk.
One last thing. Border Patrol agent with the New York Post had this quote, okay, about immigration. I'm not doing this blank again, 4 years of hell. They've done everything they could to make our job as inefficient as possible. Lots of guys who can retire will go. If Trump wins, they'll stay, end quote there. I think we're going to get into this gender divide next hour with Martha. You can make the case that women are going to vote in force, in great numbers, because of the question about abortion, no matter what state they live in. You might also be able to make the argument that women are going to vote on issues like crime, like immigration, like their own sense of security in their own town. How do you feel about that?
Especially married suburban women. And this is a group Donald Trump should really be trying to crack into. Harris excels among suburban women. In fact, she may be the Democrat to get the greatest number of white women ever. So she excels with this group, but Donald Trump can definitely eke in, because the average suburban married woman, while abortion is motivating to some, is thinking about the kitchen table issues, is thinking about crime in their communities, is thinking about how that is tied to immigration. So cracking into those issues, making an encore, an appeal to these women and not just leaving them for Kamala Harris to get, is a smart thing to do. The Harris-Faulkner Town Hall will do that. I hope he does more appeals to women.
He might.
It's like with Tim Walz yesterday. He said, we can't take 4 more years of this. We're like, yes, everyone agrees. Thank you, sir.
Yes, well said, Tim Walz.
See you at noon. Thanks.
Thank you.
As we mentioned, it's a 2 for today here on Fox. Faulkner Focus Town Halls at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. As soon as Dana and I conclude our program here. The special report interview with VP Harris, 6 p.m. Eastern tonight, right here on the Fox News Channel. You don't need to watch anything else today, right?
Nope, just leave it right
20
here.
days and rolling.
That's
You got
right.
it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.